Okay. So we're back to the powers on page 2 because we already talked about the Class A infractions. They adopted the standards. That's the one we talk about. Number 4, they investigate complaints. Here's what we're talking about. There's no police, but once you complain, they will investigate. Now they can go out and enforce and discipline. They conduct hearings and hire counsel and anybody they want. I've seen them hire a private detective before. All right? They approve the exams, the course of study, CE, and all the other forms. So the course you are going through, they have approved. They approved the book, they approved the test, they approved the course, all of it. Didn't say they passed, I just said they approved it. They adopted a seal. That was nice of them. No. Containing the words Real Estate Commission. And like I told you, number 10 says they do not rule on disputes between money. Between agents about money. They don't care. They're a licensing. All they care about, your license? Yes, no. If it's an argument over the commission split or anything like that, that goes over to the MIBOR. The Attorney General handles the complaints who are not licensed. I just told you that. If someone's acting as a broker without a license, the commission really can't go after them because they're not licensed. So what they do is they engage the Attorney General to go after them. Now, who can get a license? In general, if it involves real estate in Indiana, a fee for service, it falls under the authority of the Real Estate Commission. Only the commission can give the license. Who needs a license? Anyone performs the acts of buy, sell, trade, lease, exchange, option, rent, consult, refer needs a license. Except, and Chavez, here's some of the questions you ask. Letter C says except for sale by owners. If you own the property, you don't need a license to do any of that for your property. Buy, sell, trade, lease, exchange, manage, list, rent, consult, refer. None of that's license required if I own the property. That's where for sale by owners come from. That's how you could manage your own property without a license. It's my property. Attorneys practicing law don't need a license. They have so many hours of real estate law. Now, I do know attorneys that argue this point back and forth. I know an attorney that is not licensed, and I know an attorney that is licensed. Each one believes, hey, I believe I need one, and the other one says, I don't think I do. So, but we as a group say a practicing attorney does not need a license. The buddy of mine that's licensed attorney, practicing attorney, is a mergers and acquisitions attorney. All right? Really not real estate. He has his real estate license. He went to class and got his license just like everybody else. I know another attorney who's a real estate attorney who doesn't have a license. But his claim is, I'm a real estate attorney. But from our side of the fence, we just say any practicing attorney doesn't need one. Public officials carrying out the law, like sheriff's sale. Sheriffs don't have a real estate license. That's part of their job description. Anybody that has been appointed by the court as a representative, like a trustee or a receiver or an executor to a will, they are a court appointed and they work almost like a for sale by owner. So when someone dies and leaves a will and they name the executor and the executor, I told you, has to probate it and sell the house, he can do that without an agent because he's an executor. Rentals of less than 30 days. You guys ever seen those extended stay hotels? How long can you stay there? 30 days. You can stay there as many 30 days as you want. You can't sign for more than 30 days at a time because if you did, the person behind the counter would have to have a license because that's leasing. So they exempted this less than 30 days. That way these hotels or weekly stays or extended stays, they can hire any Joe Blow behind the counter. It doesn't have to have a license because those are all exempt because they're so short term.
So what if someone were in town like for 2 months for a job
They can stay as many 30 days as they want. Just not, they can't sign a lease for more than 30 days at a time. So they would go to the extended stay on the first, and then on the first again, they would go sign another 30-day lease. And there are people that have stayed there months, even years. You just can't sign a 6-month lease. You have to sign a month, and then a month, and then a month, and then a month. You can do that. Apartment rentals of 12 units or less, owned and managed by the individual, where all 12 units are on the one or adjoining parcel. This is a stupid rule to me, because the second they said owned or managed by an individual, once they're owned by him, it's exempt anyway, because it's his. Cross-state referrals by brokers to ours that have license. This is the relo companies. So if someone's in New Jersey and they're licensed and they send you a person relocating here, I can pay that broker in New Jersey because they're licensed in New Jersey. They don't need a license here. I do the work for them here, for like the relocation departments.
Would the same thing work if, like when we were buying, my agent was based in Indy, we looked at some houses in Columbus and in Bloomington, and he had to refer us to a different agent?
Yes, same way, because that state has the same reciprocity as far as that law. As long as your agent's licensed here and you go to Columbus to buy and he refers you to a Columbus agent, that Columbus will pay this guy over here. All right? Regular full-time salaried employees of the property owners. Letter 9 is the Simon Law. If you are employed by the owner of the property, you are exempt from requiring a license. When Simon owns the Greenwood Park Mall, he has people that will lease out to Von Maur, right? Those agents aren't licensed because they are employed by the owner of the property. Employed is the key word. Chavez says he's got rental properties. If he hires a maintenance man that is employed by him under a regular W-2 type of contract, that guy can show his properties for Chavez because he owns them. Right? So letter number 9 is the Simon Law. Where's the other one I'm looking for? There's another law there that I thought was there. Okay. 9B. For those of you at home listening on audio, write this down. 9A, regular full-time salaried employees of property owners, Simon Law. 9B, regular full-time employees of a licensed manager. Is that number 6? Did I skip it? Sweet. Good. Thank you. I thought, how did I leave that out? I skipped number 6. My apology. Number 6 is what I call the Van Roy rule. You guys know who Van Roy is? Downtown property manager. You guys don't know? Like 6,000 properties under management. Carl Van Roy is a licensed agent. He has employees that work under him. They can manage property under his license because they are employed for third-party people. What's it take to manage property for a third-party person? A license, right? Carl's got the license. He can do it. So anybody that's employed under him can manage third party. Number 9 says anybody that's employed by the owner of the property can manage. And the owner of the property is exempt. That's rule number 1. So anybody. So number 9 is what I would call the Simon rule, because he hires people and they lease out Simon's properties. Number 6 is the Carl Van Roy rule. He's licensed, can manage, and people employed by him can manage. They got to be full-time employees. W-2. Thank you for finding that. I thought I had that in there. Public auctions by auctioneers, number 10. Auctioneers cannot broker property. Remember what broker is? bringing buyers and sellers together, they can only auction. So they can't put a sign in the yard and say, if you want to see the house, call me and I'll show you the house. That's brokering. They can stand in the front yard and go, give me 10, give me 20, give me 30, give me 40. They have an auction to do that. We are just mirror opposite. We can't stand in the front yard and go, give me 5, give me 10. That's an auction. We don't have an auctioneer's license. We can put a sign in the yard and say, if you want to see this before the auction, call me and I'll show you the property and broker the deal. A lot of auctioneers have a real estate license for that sole purpose. You know, auctions schedule out 2 months, but before then they'll list the property. If they get a buyer before the auction, they'll do a deal. So there are many auctioneers that have a real estate license so they can do just that. But typically, if you auctioneers don't need to auction the property, don't need a license. Out-of-state commercial brokers regarding ones located in Indiana, if they're affiliated with a managing broker. We're going to talk about out-of-state commercial brokers coming up here and working. Acts of a licensee of another state, performing licensed act in this state with permission of the commission. You guys ever heard of the term a one-off? Maybe it's someone's licensed in Florida, their mom lives in Indiana, and they want to come up here and do one deal just to sell their moms one time. And the commission goes, well, are you licensed? Yeah, I'm licensed in Florida. They're pretty much similar to us. We'll allow you to do this one-off, one time. But you got to get permission without going through the real estate school or without hiring another Indiana broker. So if they're licensed somewhere else, the commission may give them permission to do that. Number 14 is the one I think we should have started with. Or anything else the commission gives you permission on. I have to do a lot better job because I know I skipped one in there. 11. Yeah, because that's the one I like. Sale, lease, or transfer of cemetery lots. The word that bothers me in that sentence is lease. You, out. That's where The Walking Dead comes from. They're just been evicted, that's it. Huh?
I know Louisiana actually does lease. You only get it there 10 years when they actually bought it. I do know that, only because I have family down there. But
where's that? Louisiana leases cemetery. Well, maybe they're a higher class dead people now. They're moving up to the new neighborhood.
To a different area. They give you time, but they don't have enough spots in certain areas.
Everybody like that? Or just ones that lease? Can you buy still?
You can still buy if there's spots to buy, but not.
Somebody said, what's his name from the Doors? Morrison was in a lease spot in France and they had to move him.
I mean, like I said, St. Louis actually did that for a while. They knew that the new runway in St. Louis was going to be built in a certain period of time.
They did that in that one movie. Oh, yeah, Poltergeist, where they built over the cemetery.
Well, Lambert's a ghost town now, so.
I think that'd be a good business. But, you know, they always put a fence around the cemetery. It's because people are dying to get in. My kids love that one. What's the other one? You ever see a Coke machine in a cemetery? Because Coke adds life. Hey, I didn't say they were all good, man. All right. Property management, full-time employees of property owners are employed by, supervised by licensed managing broker. You must be a licensed managing broker to property for a fee. Letter D is just kind of recapturing what I just said between 6 and 9. If you own it, you can employ a person. If you're licensed and you're doing it for other people and you employ a person. That's the Van Roy and the Simon rule. Appraisers are separately licensed in Indiana. So you are not an appraiser. Got to get an appraiser's license if you want that. A broker's price opinion. A broker does perform an opinion of value. We're going to talk all about this in the appraisal section. Must be, if I do a BPO, which stands for broker price opinion, I can get paid anywhere from $40 to $80 by a bank to do it. It's a very watered down version of an appraisal. Think of it like that, all right? If you do, you still have to follow the appraiser's, it's called USPAP, USPAP, the Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice. I have to follow the same rules the appraiser follows to do a BPO. All right, we're going to stop right there for a second, go to the next file.